She was a simple girl, with nothing. Just a strong will to survive. One morning she helped an older woman at work. But what she didn't know was that the woman was hiding a secret. A secret that could change her life forever. Who was this older woman? And what did she see in the poor girl that no one else did? Sit back and find out as we begin this shocking and touching story. This is the heart-touching story of a poor girl named Lucy. She was just an attendant in a big shopping mall, alone in the world, struggling to survive. But everything changed the day she helped an old woman at work, not knowing that the woman was actually the mother of her billionaire boss. What began as a simple act of kindness soon opened a door to a life she never imagined. One morning, Lucy stood at the entrance of the big shopping mall in Lagos, wearing her orange uniform and a name tag that read, Lucy, Attendant. The sun was hot, and the noise from the busy street outside filled the air. People rushed in and out of the mall, carrying shopping bags and looking busy. But Lucy? She just smiled. It was only her third week on the job. Inside, she moved from one corner of the store to another, arranging items on the shelves, helping customers find things. No one would guess the pain she carried in her heart. Not from the way she smiled, not from the way she greeted people with kindness. But behind that smile was a story. A deep one. She had no one. Her parents died the year before in a terrible accident. Since then, Lucy had been on her own. No brothers, no sisters, just her, and the tiny room she rented in a poor part of Lagos. One part of the roof leaked when it rained. The window didn't close properly, and to make matters worse, at night, she could hear rats moving in the ceiling. Still, every morning, Lucy woke up before sunrise, cleaned herself up, and went to work like nothing was wrong. Lucy sat alone on the small bench behind the shopping mall during her lunch break. Her hands held a cold bottle of water, but she wasn't drinking it. She just stared at the floor. The noise from the street was far away now. Everything felt quiet. She had been thinking again. Thinking about school. About the life she once had. Just 1 year ago, she was in her second year at the university. She wanted to become a doctor. She loved helping people. That dream kept her going. It gave her hope. But when her parents died, everything ended. She could not pay school fees anymore. No money for food, no money for books. She had to drop out. Lucy blinked fast and looked up at the sky. "I tried," she whispered. "I really tried." Her voice shook a little. She remembered the day she left school. She packed her things in one small bag. Her roommate cried. Her lecturer called her name, asking her to stay strong. But there was nothing they could do. Lucy had no relatives who were financially capable or willing to help with her education. Since then, she had been doing small jobs to survive. First, she sold fruits by the roadside. Then, she washed clothes for people. And now, this job at the mall. Suddenly, she checked her wristwatch. Her break was over. Lucy stood up slowly, wiped her eyes, and put on her smile again. But deep inside, her heart was still heavy. She wanted to go back to school. She wanted a better life. She wanted more than this. And yet, she said nothing. Because in this city, people had their own problems. No one had time to listen. She walked back into the mall, her smile shining again like the sun. But only she knew. That smile was covering a deep, quiet pain. Mr. Felix Badmus sat in his father's chair, the same chair his late father, Mr. Anthony Badmus, used for over 30 years. The office was quiet. A soft breeze came through the open window. He was now the CEO of Badmus and Company. It wasn't something he planned. It came after his father died. Felix was young, rich, and smart. But his father had taught him something very important. Never draw too much attention. Keep your life simple, his father always said. When people don't know too much about you, you are safer. Felix listened. Even now, as a billionaire, he didn't live loud. No one outside the company really knew who he was. He dressed simple. He moved quietly. He didn't show off. To the public, he was just another regular man. But inside, he carried a big name, and an even bigger responsibility. Mrs. Agnes Badmus was the mother of Felix. A calm and wise woman in her 60s, she had stayed strong through many storms, the biggest being the death of her husband, Mr. Anthony Badmus. Now she lived with her only son, Felix, in their quiet mansion. One evening she sat on the long sofa in the living room, holding a glass of fruit juice. The room was peaceful. Felix walked in. "Good evening, Mum," he said with a gentle smile. She looked at him, shook her head slowly and said, "Felix, sit down. We need to talk." He sat beside her, already knowing what was coming. She stared at him. "You're always working, always talking business. But what about your life, Felix? When will you bring home a woman? A good girl I can call my daughter?" Felix smiled. "Mum, I'm trying. It's not easy to find someone real." Mrs. Agnes placed her cup on the table. "You're not a boy anymore. I want to see you happy. I want to hold my grandchildren." "I know," Felix said quietly, "and I promise. I'm doing my best. I just need time." She nodded slowly. "Just make sure she's kind. That's all I ask." Felix smiled again. But deep in his heart, he was worried too. How would he know who truly loved him, not just his name? It was a hot afternoon. The shopping mall where Lucy worked was busy as usual. People moved in and out, carrying bags and chatting. An old woman walked in quietly. She wore a plain dress. Her slippers made soft sounds on the floor. She looked tired, but she walked fast. She went straight to the shelf and picked one small bottle of cooking oil. At the counter, she smiled and placed the bottle down. "I'm in a hurry, please," she said gently. "I need to get home before the rain starts." The cashier, a young lady with loud chewing gum in her mouth, looked at her and frowned. "Madam, your money?" The woman paused. She checked her pockets. Then her face changed. "Oh no," she said slowly. "I didn't bring my purse. I must have left it at home. I'm so sorry, my daughter. Let me rush back and bring it." The cashier scoffed. So you came here to waste my time? You don't have money, and you're standing in front of my counter?" The people in the line turned to look. The old woman tried to explain again. "Please, I didn't mean to forget. I just needed the oil for cooking." The cashier raised her voice. "Who sent you? You think this is a charity home? Look at you. No money, but you came to shop. Madam, please, shift." The woman's eyes dropped to the ground. Her hands shook. The people around began to whisper. But no one helped her. Lucy stood a few steps away, arranging items on a shelf. But she had heard the loud voice from the cashier. Her heart began to beat fast. She walked quickly to the counter and saw the older woman standing there, her eyes on the ground. People were still watching. The cashier was shaking her head and laughing with another worker. Lucy stepped forward. "What's going on here?" she asked. The cashier rolled her eyes. "This woman doesn't have money and she wants to buy oil. Can you imagine? She said she forgot her purse." Lucy turned to the older woman. "Ma, is this true?" The woman nodded slowly. "Yes, my dear, I'm not lying. I only needed one bottle. But I truly forgot my purse." Lucy felt something strong in her chest. Sadness. She looked at the cashier and said calmly, "Give her the oil." The cashier blinked. "Give her?" "Yes," Lucy replied. "Remove the money from my salary." The cashier's mouth opened. "Your salary? For just this woman?" "Yes," Lucy said again. "It's just one bottle. It won't hurt me." The old woman looked up slowly. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Her eyes were full. "Thank you, my child," she said, her voice shaking. "Thank you." Lucy smiled and took the oil, gently placing it into the woman's nylon bag. "It's okay, Ma. Just get home safe." Lucy was about to turn back to her shelf when she heard the older woman call out, "My dear," the woman said softly. "Please wait." Lucy turned around and walked back to her. "Yes, Ma?" The woman looked into Lucy's eyes. "You didn't have to do what you did, but you did it anyway. Why?" Lucy smiled gently. "Because you needed help, Ma. That's all." The woman nodded slowly like someone thinking deeply. Then she said, "What's your name, my child?" "Lucy," she replied. "Lucy," the woman repeated, smiling now. "That's a lovely name." Lucy chuckled. "Thank you, Ma." "My name is Agnes," the woman said. Lucy smiled again. "It's nice to meet you." Agnes placed her hand gently on Lucy's arm and said, "God bless you. You have a kind heart. I won't forget this." She held the bottle of oil close to her chest and walked slowly toward the exit. But the look on her face was not the same as before. This time, she was smiling. Lucy stood still for a moment, watching her go. Something about that woman felt different. Mrs. Agnes walked into the house, still holding the bottle of cooking oil. Her face was quiet, but her eyes looked like she was thinking about something. Felix was sitting on the sofa, typing on his laptop. The moment he saw her, he looked up. "Mom, are you okay?" he asked. "You look different. What happened?" Mrs. Agnes sat down slowly beside him. She held the oil bottle on her lap and took a deep breath. "Felix, I went to the mall," she began, "just to pick one bottle of oil, but I forgot my purse at home." Felix raised his eyebrows. "And then?" She looked at him. "The cashier insulted me in front of everyone. She spoke to me like I was nothing. Like I was a beggar." Felix's face became serious. "What? Which mall?" She paused. "The new one. The one you told me your company just acquired a stake in." Felix's jaw tightened. "How could they treat you like that?" Mrs. Agnes touched his hand. "Calm down. Let me finish." While I was standing there trying to explain myself, a young girl came forward. She asked what was going on. When she heard my story, she told the cashier to give me the oil and to remove the money from her own salary. Felix's eyes widened. "She did that?" "Yes," Mrs. Agnes said with a smile. "She was like an angel. So simple. So kind. I asked for her name." "What's her name?" Felix asked. "Lucy," she replied. "Her name is Lucy." Felix leaned back, staring at the ceiling for a second. His mind was already working fast. He stood up from the sofa. His hands were tight by his side. His face had changed. He was no longer calm. "Mom, how can someone insult you like that in a company I have a stake in?" he said, his voice strong. Mrs. Agnes touched his arm gently. "Felix, I was very hurt. But I don't want you to be angry. There was something good that came out of it." Felix turned to her. "Lucy, right?" She nodded. "Yes, that girl. She didn't know who I was. But she stood up for me. She even offered to pay for the oil with her own money. People like her are rare." Felix was still upset, but he listened closely. "I want to meet her again," Agnes said softly. "I want to thank her and do something for her. She has a good heart." Felix nodded slowly. "You will meet her again, Mom. I promise you that." He paused, then added, "But the cashier who insulted you? I won't leave her like that. I'll handle it myself." Agnes looked at him with gentle eyes. "Please, don't go too far." "I won't," Felix said. "But no one talks to you like that. Not while I'm alive." There was silence in the room. But inside Felix's heart, a plan had already begun. Felix sat alone in his quiet home office. He held his phone tightly, thinking about Lucy.